Let's talk about money, because right now, the very nature of it is changing fast. Governments all over the world are building their own digital currencies. So the big question is, are they building a bold new public option for our financial future, or are they just building a digital wall to protect the past?
To really get what's at stake here, we've got to zoom out a little, because this isn't just about some new app on your phone. We are living through a massive, fundamental rewiring of the entire global financial system. And honestly, it's happening way faster than most people think.
So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you really used a decent amount of physical cash? For more and more of us, it's been a while, right? All across the globe, physical money is, well, it's kind of fading into the background. We live in a digital world, and our money is catching up.
But what's actually filling that gap that cash is leaving behind? It's not just your credit card. A whole new financial universe is bubbling up. People are calling it the token economy. This is the world of private digital assets, things like Bitcoin, of course, but also stable coins that are pegged to currencies like the dollar. It's a space that is just buzzing with innovation, and for the traditional system, it's a huge, huge challenge.
So you can bet the world's central banks, the traditional guardians of our money, they're not just going to sit on the sidelines and watch this all happen. Nope, they have a response. They have their own game plan for bringing public money into the digital age.
And their answer is something called a central bank digital currency, or a CBDC for short. Basically, think of it as a digital dollar, or a digital euro. It's the same official money we use today, but in a purely digital form, issued and guaranteed directly by the country's central bank. Now, the key point they always stress is that this would exist alongside cash, not get rid of it.
And don't think for a second this is just some niche experiment. This is a global wave. Right now, more than 100, that's right, over 100 different countries are actively researching, building, or even testing out their own CBDCs. This is happening everywhere.
This huge global rush brings us right back to our central mystery. What is really driving all of this? Is it a genuine push for innovation to give us all better public services? Or is it really an act of self-preservation, a way for central banks to keep control in a financial world that's slipping from their grasp?
The whole debate really breaks down into two main camps. On one side, you've got the optimists. They see this as a great public alternative. They argue that CBDCs are all about progress, making payments faster and cheaper, helping people who don't have bank accounts, and just modernizing money for the 21st century. But on the other side, you have the more skeptical view. They say this is a defensive reaction. They believe the real goal isn't innovation, it's control, protecting government power, preventing financial instability, and, of course, pushing back against the rise of private cryptocurrencies.
But, look, you can't just flip a switch on something this massive without some pretty major risks. For one, if a CBDC becomes super popular, it could suck a ton of money out of commercial banks, which could destabilize the whole system. Then there's the big one, the elephant in the room, privacy. How much will the government be able to see about our spending habits? And finally, what if you build this whole thing and nobody uses it? If the public doesn't see the point, the project could be a huge flop, and we've already seen that happen in a few places.
Okay. So to solve our mystery, we can't just stick to theory. We need to look at the evidence. We need to go out into the world and see what's actually happening on the ground. By looking at the CBDC projects that are already up and running or in late-stage testing, we can start to see what the real motivations are.
And you know what? When you start looking at the real-world examples, a very clear pattern starts to emerge. Take China. The motivation for their ECNY is pretty openly about strengthening state oversight and curbing the power of their huge private tech platforms. In Europe, a major driver for the digital euro is what they call strategic autonomy, which is basically a nice way of saying they don't want to rely on American or other foreign payment companies. Even in places like Nigeria, where the big goal was supposedly financial inclusion, adoption has been incredibly low. So when you look at what these countries are doing, not just what they're saying, the evidence points overwhelmingly in one direction: defense.
All right, so we've looked at the arguments, we've weighed the risks, and we've followed the clues from around the world. I think it's time to put it all together and deliver a verdict on what the future of public money is really all about.
So what's the final verdict? Well, while there are definitely some innovative parts to CBDCs, this isn't some bold leap into a brand new financial world. The evidence strongly suggests that this is a hybrid, but predominantly defensive reaction. The main goal here isn't to create something radically new. It's to protect something old, the central role of public money and the stability of the traditional financial system in an age of massive digital disruption.
So, what does this all mean for policymakers? Well, a few key things. First,
Focus on building stability and trust, not just on cool, flashy technology. Second, and this is crucial, build rock-solid legal protections for privacy before you even think about launching. Third, understand that a CBDC is not a magic bullet. It can't fix deep-seated problems like financial inclusion all by itself. And finally, everyone needs to work together. Without international coordination, this new world of digital money could get really messy really fast.
So here's the bottom line. A digital dollar, a digital euro, a digital version of almost every major currency, it's no longer a question of if, but how and when. And the evidence tells us these new systems are being designed more to protect the old financial order than to create a new one. And that leaves all of us with one last, really important question to think about. Are we ready for what that actually means?